The sea holds secrets better than any museum. Greek sponge divers knew this. For generations, they plunged into the frigid waters of the Aegean Sea, risking their lives for their precious catch. But in 1901, in the waters between Crete and mainland Greece, off the tiny island of Antikythera, they discovered not sponges, but something that would revolutionize humanity's understanding of ancient science. Subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with more stories. The story begins with tragedy. A Greek merchant ship, laden with statues, ceramics, and coins, sank here more than 2 millennia ago. Waves and time have reduced it to a pile of wreckage, lying on the seabed at a depth of more than 60 meters. When sponge divers first spotted the wreckage, they had no idea they were holding the key to one of the greatest mysteries of the ancient world. Among the shipwreck's treasures were fragments of corroded bronze, coated in a green patina from centuries underwater. At first glance, they appeared to be ordinary scraps of metal, unremarkable. But when the artifacts were delivered to the National Archaeological Museum of Athens, experts noticed something unusual. Tiny gear teeth were visible on the surface of the bronze. Complex mechanisms were visible within the fragments. Inscriptions in ancient Greek, though barely legible, indicated that this was not just a piece of metal, but part of something far more complex. The largest fragment contained visible gears and wheels connected to thin bronze plates. The smaller pieces appeared to be components of some grandiose mechanism. Scientists who first saw these finds were stunned. They had never seen anything like it from the ancient world. The object was broken into dozens of fragments, each a puzzle. Initially, experts speculated that it might be an astrolabe or a navigational instrument for ancient sailors. Others thought it was some kind of astronomical calendar, but the device's corroded state made it nearly impossible to determine its exact purpose. The inscriptions were too faint to read. The gears were locked by centuries of decay. The mechanism was silent, leaving historians and engineers completely baffled. The artifact lay in the museum for years, decades, growing more mysterious with each passing day. But the story of this ancient device was far from over. It was destined to become the center of one of the most fascinating scientific investigations of the 20th century. Part 2. The Man Who Saw Beyond Numbers. Professor Tony Freeth was an unusual scientist. His path to science began at Cambridge University, one of England's most prestigious universities, where he studied mathematics. His keen mind was drawn to the logical structure of numbers, but his curiosity extended far beyond pure mathematics. After Cambridge, Freeth continued his education at the University of Bristol, where his interests shifted toward the practical application of knowledge. He specialized in set theory, a branch of mathematics that requires not only precision, but also abstract thinking. This discipline taught him to see patterns and connections between complex systems, an ability that would later become the key to unlocking ancient machinery. But Freeth was no ordinary mathematician locked in a tower of numbers. His interests were much broader. He wanted to explore the world in new ways, to understand how logic could be expressed not only in equations, but also in visual and creative forms. This desire led him to an unexpected career change: filmmaking. Freeth began making films about science and technology, using his background in mathematics to explain complex ideas to ordinary people. The transition seemed unusual, but it revealed another side of his intellect. Filmmaking requires patience, precision, and the ability to visualize abstract concepts. Through this new medium, he learned to tell stories through imagery, structure, and rhythm, the same principles as mathematics, but expressed through creativity. His experience in filmmaking honed his patience and attention to detail. He learned to construct narratives carefully, observe patterns, and clearly communicate ideas. These skills would later become indispensable as he began working with scientists, historians, and engineers to solve history's greatest puzzle. Freeth's combination of logical thinking and visual imagination made him uniquely qualified to interpret both data and design. When he first encountered the Antikythera Mechanism, he immediately realized that before him lay not just an ancient artifact, but a mathematical and mechanical puzzle awaiting solution. Part 3. A new vision of an ancient riddle. When Freeth began studying the Antikythera Mechanism, he didn't see it as just another ancient artifact. For him, it was a mathematical and mechanical puzzle, demanding understanding. The corroded fragments had already been studied for decades, but Freeth believed they contained many more secrets than anyone had ever uncovered. His keen analytical mind, honed by years of mathematical reasoning, saw the mechanism not as a pile of broken metal, but as the remnants of a highly advanced design that could unlock the depths of ancient knowledge. Freeth began by reviewing all previous studies of the device. Many scholars before him had identified it as a type of astronomical calculator, but gaps in understanding remained. There were sections of the mechanism too damaged to interpret, and portions of the inscriptions that could not be fully read. The gears were impressive, but how they worked together to produce such precise movement remained unclear. Freeth believed that modern technology could finally reveal these answers. In 2000, Freeth proposed a new plan that would transform the study of the device. He helped create the Antikythera Mechanism Research Project, a collaboration aimed at re-evaluating the ancient machine using the most advanced scientific methods. The project brought together some of the finest minds in archaeology, physics, and engineering. The team used technology never before applied to ancient artifacts. The goal was simple yet ambitious. Peer inside the corroded metal without damaging it, mapping every hidden gear, pin, and inscription buried by time. The team quickly realized that traditional X-ray systems weren't powerful enough to reveal the mechanism's intricate details. The bronze was thick, and layers of corrosion made internal imaging extremely difficult. To overcome this, Freeth and his team collaborated with X-Tech Systems, a company renowned for its high-resolution X-ray machines. X-Tech developed an advanced 3D imaging system capable of penetrating dense materials while producing stunningly clear images. This collaboration allowed the scientists to capture views of the mechanism's interior with unprecedented precision. When the first scans began, the results were stunning. The machine slowly came to life through the images. Beneath the corroded surface, a complex arrangement of gears and plates emerged. Some gears were small and finely cut, others large and connected by complex linkages. The team could see gears interlocking to form a mechanical chain representing the movement of celestial bodies. It was clear that each part had been designed with incredible skill and intention. For the first time in 2,000 years, the device's true internal structure was visible. As the scanning continued, the researchers discovered something even more extraordinary. Hidden inscriptions covered the inner surfaces of the plates. These texts were faint but legible, preserved in areas untouched by corrosion. They provided vital clues about the machine's operation and purpose. Freeth and his team realized that the amount of text found was almost twice as large as previously known. This meant that the mechanism contained detailed instructions, explanations, and astronomical data that previous researchers had never seen. The discovery transformed our understanding of the Antikythera Mechanism. It was no longer a partial mystery, but a device that could now speak again after more than 2 millennia of silence. Part 4. The Eclipse Engine. As Freeth and his research team studied new images obtained using cutting-edge technology, their attention was drawn to a dial that looked unlike the others. This dial contained a spiral arrangement of symbols and small divisions, each meticulously marked. It soon became clear that this section of the device was used to track eclipses, one of the most complex astronomical events known to ancient civilizations. The more Freeth studied it, the more remarkable it seemed. He discovered that the dial represented a repeating cycle of 223 lunar months, known as the Saros cycle. This system was used by the Babylonians to predict the timing of solar and lunar eclipses. The Greeks, however, went even further. They took this mathematical knowledge and incorporated it into a working mechanical model. Each rotation of the gears advanced the dial, allowing the user to predict when and where an eclipse would occur. The idea that such precision existed in a device built over 2,000 years ago left scientists baffled. Each cell of the spiral dial contained specific symbols and short notes describing important details of upcoming eclipses. These markings indicated not only the month and year, but also the type of eclipse, solar or lunar, and even the direction and size of the shadow. Through the movement of the gears, these events could be predicted with astonishing accuracy. Freeth realized that this was not just a calendar, but a scientific instrument capable of predicting cosmic events with mathematical precision. To understand how it worked, the research team analyzed. The mechanism precisely controlled the arrangement of gears connected to the dial. They discovered that each tooth was cut to represent precise ratios corresponding to the movements of the moon and sun. When one gear turned, it set several others in motion in precise sequence, ensuring that the dial's readings coincided with actual celestial cycles. This demonstrated that the mechanism's creators not only mastered gear manufacturing, but also understood the complex relationship between time, motion, and astronomy. Freeth's findings were published in the scientific journal Nature, where they attracted worldwide attention. Scientists, engineers, and historians were stunned by the level of detail and sophistication revealed in the Antikythera Mechanism. It was clear that the Greeks had built something far ahead of its time, a true divination machine. The device's precision suggested that its creator had an advanced understanding of celestial cycles and mechanical principles that had been lost for centuries. Recognizing the Saros cycle in the mechanism revealed how ancient knowledge traveled across cultures, from Babylonian astronomers to Greek engineers, who combined science and craftsmanship to create a masterpiece. Part 5. Lunar Anomaly and the Moving Moon. Tony Freeth's journey into the secrets of the Antikythera Mechanism entered a new phase when his attention turned to its connection to the moon. Through meticulous research and digital reconstruction, he began to uncover the unusual way the ancient Greeks envisioned the moon's motion. Unlike modern gears, which often simplify rotation, the mechanism's builders somehow captured the moon's complex dance across the sky, a motion that was far from uniform. Freeth discovered that this was no ordinary calendar or primitive clock. It was a precise lunar model, constructed with knowledge that seemed centuries ahead of its time. Freeth's research revealed that the Greeks understood something extraordinary. The moon's orbit around Earth wasn't a perfect circle. Instead, it followed an elliptical path, moving faster at some points and slower at others. This understanding of variable speed demonstrated that the creators of the Antikythera Mechanism had grasped the subtle details of celestial motion that modern science formalized much later. Reproducing such motion mechanically required a deep understanding of geometry, observation, and engineering precision, qualities rarely attributed to technology more than 2,000 years ago. A major breakthrough in Freeth's discovery came with the rediscovery of a specific component, the pin and slot system. This feature had once been hypothesized by researcher Michael Wright, who believed it allowed one gear to move unevenly relative to another. Freeth's analysis confirmed that this was precisely how the mechanism represented the moon's irregular speed. By allowing one gear to slip slightly as it rotated, the machine simulated the moon's changing tempo in the sky. This wasn't just a clever engineering trick. It was a breakthrough that set the heavens in motion through metal. What further fascinated Freeth was that the pinion and slot system was connected to a 223-tooth gear. This same gear was already known for controlling eclipse predictions on the back of the mechanism. Its dual function, predicting eclipses and controlling the movement of the moon, demonstrated an extraordinary level of mechanical integration. The builders designed a system where a single gear performed multiple roles, linking various astronomical cycles into a single harmonious structure. Every movement within the mechanism served a purpose, forming a complete model of time, movement, and light. Freeth confirmed that when the handle of the Antikythera mechanism was turned, the lunar display showed the moon moving at variable speeds, just as it moves in reality. It accelerated near perigee, when the moon was closest to the Earth, and decelerated near apogee, when it was farthest away. This wasn't an approximation or an assumption. It was a mechanical translation of real astronomical data. The more Freeth studied it, the more he realized that the mechanism captured natural motion with astonishing mathematical precision. It was as if ancient engineers had transformed the night sky into a machine. Part 6. The Hidden Cosmos. Inside the Mechanism. Tony Freeth's research continued to reach new depths when he turned his attention to the front panel of the Antikythera mechanism. Years of study had revealed much about its back dials and lunar systems, but the front panel still held unsolved mysteries. Through advanced imaging, digital reconstruction, and comparison with ancient Greek astronomical records, Freeth and his team at University College London uncovered something remarkable: a miniature model of the entire known universe, hidden within the corroded remains of the mechanism. In 2021, researchers from UCL confirmed the presence of 9 intertwining. The front panel featured a series of rings. Each of these rings represented a celestial body or node, carefully arranged according to the ancient Greek understanding of the cosmos. The rings were more than simply decorative. They were part of a mechanical structure that showed the positions of the planets, moon, and sun relative to Earth. This system reflected the ancient geocentric belief that Earth stood at the center of the universe, with everything else revolving around it. Each planetary ring was connected through a complex network of nested tubes, which likely carried small spheres symbolizing the planets. Some of these spheres are believed to have been made of semi-precious stones, perhaps chosen to match the color or brightness of each planet. Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn were included, along with the moon and sun. This design meant that as the main handle was turned, each sphere would move in perfect synchrony, reproducing the slow and graceful dance of the heavens. At the center of this model lay the Earth, motionless, as the Greeks imagined it. The sun, moon, and planets revolved around it, each following its own appointed path. The inclusion of a date indicator would allow users to see the positions of the celestial bodies on any given day, linking human time with cosmic movement. This was more than just an astronomical calculator. It was a working planetarium, a mechanical universe in motion. Freeth's analysis revealed that the mechanism also incorporated a lunar illumination system. This ingenious feature displayed the changing phases of the moon from new to full and back again. Through careful gearing, it depicted the waxing and waning of light that defined the lunar month. This meant that the user of the device could observe both the movement and the light of the moon unfolding mechanically, offering a view of time, movement, and light intertwined in perfect unity. The sophistication of the system mirrored ancient descriptions of mechanical universes once attributed to Archimedes. The Roman philosopher Cicero wrote of a machine that could reveal the movements of the sun, moon, and planets, a universe shaped by human hands. Freeth's findings suggested that the Antikythera Mechanism could be a continuation or even a descendant of this legendary creation. Part 7. Recovering the Machine of the Gods. Tony Freeth continued his journey into the mysteries of the Antikythera Mechanism as an honorary senior research fellow at University College London. His position allowed him to focus entirely on piecing together the greatest scientific puzzle of the ancient world, along with a dedicated group of physicists, mathematicians, engineers, and historians. He helped form the UCL Antikythera Mechanism research team. Their mission was clear: to reconstruct the lost machine of the gods, using every clue the fragments could offer. The team began by collecting every possible component from the corroded remains discovered in the early 20th century. The bronze fragments, although damaged, still contained precise engravings and gear structures that could be measured and analyzed. They combined advanced imaging techniques, including 3D scanning and X-ray tomography, to reveal hidden inscriptions and markings within the metal. Every piece of evidence, regardless of size, became part of a larger structure connecting engineering with ancient astronomy. Freeth and his colleagues understood that precision was everything. To reconstruct the Antikythera Mechanism, they had to align 3 different forms of evidence: physical fragments, ancient inscriptions, and astronomical logic. The physical parts revealed how the gears were arranged and connected. The inscriptions provided written clues about their purpose and the celestial events they tracked. Astronomical data allowed them to verify whether their reconstructions matched actual planetary cycles. Each discovery was tested, discussed, and verified through patient, detailed analysis. As the team progressed, they succeeded in constructing both digital and physical replicas of the mechanism. Digital models allowed them to simulate the movement, observe the gears turning, and confirm whether the results matched known celestial patterns. Once the virtual model worked perfectly, they built a physical replica, carefully crafted from bronze to reflect the original design. When the handle was turned, the gears moved smoothly, just as they should have done 2,000 years ago. The reconstructed device displayed a breathtaking level of accuracy. It could predict planetary cycles, lunar and solar eclipses, and even the timing of the ancient Panhellenic Games, including the Olympic Games, which were held every 4 years. Inscriptions on the original fragments hinted at these cycles, and the reconstruction proved that the Greeks used the mechanism not only to study the heavens, but also to synchronize their cultural and religious events with the movements of the heavens, celestial bodies. The harmony between cosmic time and human celebration was entirely intentional. Freeth's interdisciplinary background made this achievement possible. His training in mathematics allowed him to understand the complex relationships between gears. His experience in cinematography gave him an eye for visualization and presentation. His deep respect for archaeology kept the project within the bounds of historical accuracy. By combining these fields, he transformed a collection of broken fragments into a living model of an ancient genius. The collaboration of the Antikythera research team demonstrated how science thrives when logic, creativity, and patience combine. In 2006, Freeth and his colleagues published their findings in the scientific journal Nature. This publication marked a turning point in understanding the world of ancient technology. For the first time, the Antikythera mechanism was described not as a curiosity or a myth, but as a fully functional analog computer capable of astronomical prediction. 2 years later, in 2008, a follow-up article in Nature further explained how the front and back plates worked in perfect harmony, cementing the mechanism's place as one of the most remarkable inventions of the ancient world. The academic community was stunned. What had once been dismissed as an overly complicated calendar was now recognized as a profound representation of ancient science and philosophy. The Antikythera mechanism was officially reclassified as an astronomical text, a physical document of knowledge, not just a machine. It was a book written in metal, designed to be read by movement. Thanks to Freeth's efforts, humanity rediscovered a forgotten chapter of its own intellect. Part 8. A confession that shook science. After decades of research, Tony Freeth reached a moment of quiet reflection. His years with the Antikythera mechanism had earned him recognition and respect. But behind the academic triumph lay something more personal, a realization that would redefine his view of history and humanity. He came to understand that his greatest discovery was not purely mechanical, but deeply philosophical. Freeth acknowledged that what he had uncovered went far beyond the mechanism's physical structure. The gears and inscriptions were extraordinary, but they were only symbols of something greater, the genius of the human mind. Through extensive research, he realized that the creators of the Antikythera mechanism possessed a depth of understanding long underestimated by history. Their understanding of mathematics, astronomy, and mechanical engineering reached a level that seemed centuries ahead of their time. This understanding led him to a humble conclusion. Ancient Greek knowledge had once touched the very edges of science, only for that knowledge to vanish for centuries. The world had forgotten how to build such machines, how to connect time and space through movement, and how to express science through beauty. The light of understanding faded, only to be rekindled much later, during the Renaissance. Through this realization, Freeth came to view his discovery as a confession, an acknowledgement that modern science does not stand alone, but rests on the forgotten shoulders of those who came before. He saw that human intellect has always been limitless, shaped not only by tools and equations, but also by curiosity, wonder, and the desire to understand existence itself. His confession shook the world of science because it conveyed a simple truth. The Antikythera mechanism was more than an artifact. It was a message. It reminded humanity that intelligence, creativity, and imagination are eternal. Civilizations may rise and fall, but the spark of discovery never truly fades. Freeth realized that his work was not simply the restoration of an ancient machine, but a restoration of faith in human potential. The Antikythera mechanism stands as a testament to the fact that every generation is capable of greatness, that every human mind can reach the stars if it is curious enough and bold enough. This message from the past speaks to us of the future. It tells us that we must not underestimate the abilities of our ancestors, nor must we overestimate the limitations of our own time. Somewhere in human history, in the workshop of an ancient engineer, a machine was created that could predict the future, track the movements of the stars, and combine all knowledge of the universe into a single, beautiful device. And if ancient people could create such a marvel with tools we consider primitive today, then what can we create with our modern technology? What boundaries can we overcome? What secrets can we uncover? The Antikythera mechanism is more than just an ancient artifact. It is a challenge thrown across time, a reminder that the human spirit has never been limited by the era in which it lived. The genius of the ancient Greeks, captured in bronze and gears, continues to inspire scientists, engineers, and dreamers around the world. Tony Freeth, through his persistence, his curiosity, and his belief in the power of the human mind, gave the world a gift. He simply restored an ancient machine. He restored our faith that humanity has always been capable of greatness, and that greatness is not the privilege of a single era, but a legacy passed down from generation to generation, waiting to be rediscovered and celebrated. Epilogue: a message from the depths of time. Today, the Antikythera Mechanism remains in the National Archaeological Museum of Athens, where it can be seen in a specially designed display case. Alongside the original fragments, digital reconstructions and physical models are displayed, allowing visitors to understand its complexity and beauty. The work of Tony Freeth and his team continues. New questions arise with each discovery. Who exactly created this mechanism? Was it unique? Or were there other similar devices? What other knowledge was lost when this ship sank in the Aegean Sea? But perhaps the most important question is not about the mechanism itself, but what it tells us. It tells us that the human mind knows no bounds of time. He tells us that curiosity and persistence can unlock the deepest mysteries. And he tells us that the greatness of humanity lies not in what we create, but in how we strive to understand the world around us. The Antikythera Mechanism is a message from the past, written in metal and gears, addressed to the future. And thanks to people like Tony Freeth, who listen to these messages and strive to understand them, humanity continues to grow, learn, and dream of the stars.